Welcome to She is Resilient, a podcast for women on their healing journeys who are ready to start living their most authentic and empowered lives outside of survival mode. I'm your host, Tatiana, trauma and somatic therapist, as well as a holistic coach, and I'm on a mission to help more women heal their nervous systems. Each week, me and my guests are going to get real and vulnerable about the experiences that led us to becoming the empowered and resilient women we are today. You'll leave this podcast with the skills, knowledge, and inspiration to start creating the life you deserve. Because if another woman can do it, so can you. Welcome back to another episode of She is Resilient. Today we are talking about sensitivity because the truth is a dysregulated nervous system is a sensitive nervous system. But I don't mean that in the shaming way, like when someone says something that hurts your feelings and then they say, "Oh, you're too sensitive." I definitely don't mean it like that. Because, for one, nobody should ever say you're too sensitive. That's just mean and dismissive. But it is true that when you have a dysregulated nervous system, you may be more sensitive to noise, smells, textures, lights, someone's tone of voice, or even to a comment someone made that most people would brush off, but maybe for you, you can't stop thinking about it. So if you've ever felt that way, this episode is for you. So let's just start by addressing that if you have ever considered yourself sensitive, then that is your sign that you have a dysregulated nervous system. And I'm going to explain why. Your nervous system's primary job is to keep you safe. So that means that its only job is to detect danger and protect you from that danger. But when your nervous system is stuck in survival mode for days, weeks, months, or even years, it starts scanning your environment and trying to detect danger or a threat all of the time. That means your nervous system is working extra hard to keep you alive, even when it doesn't have to. So let's start with noise sensitivity. This one is really common for those who are in a sympathetic state, fight or flight. When you're in this state of activation, your senses are already heightened. So when even more sensory input comes in, it puts your nervous system over the edge. So for example, maybe you're at a restaurant and it's busy. The music is loud, dishes are clinking, conversations are happening all around you, and someone at your table asks you a question, but your brain can't even focus because you're already in a heightened state. You start to become overstimulated. And as a result, you may start to feel irritated or shut down, or maybe even panicky. It may sometimes feel like the panic or the irritation is coming out of nowhere, but what's really happening is that your nervous system is saying, "I'm at capacity. I don't feel safe." But of course, your nervous system doesn't communicate with words, and instead it communicates through symptoms, sensations, or emotions. So if you tend to become overstimulated by noise, I want you to know that this isn't part of your personality, meaning you don't have to avoid loud places for the rest of your life, because once you heal your nervous system isn't going to be so sensitive to the noise because your body will have more capacity. It will have more safety, and it's not going to respond the same way as it does when you're dysregulated. And as a reminder, or in case you're new to this podcast, regulating the nervous system doesn't mean calming the nervous system. So when I say healing the nervous system, I'm talking about your nervous system having more balance, more flexibility, more capacity to be with all sensations and emotions. And that can only happen through deep nervous system work, like somatic experiencing, for example, not just coping tools. If you're not actively doing nervous system work with someone who specializes in the nervous system, then here are 2 ways you can cope with noise in the meantime. Number 1, If you know you're going somewhere that might be loud or could be overstimulating, then I encourage you to be proactive about supporting your body. So that means supporting your body before, during, and after. Before heading to the store or the restaurant or the social gathering that may be loud, practice supporting your body through VU sounds, cold exposure, or another somatic tool. Then you want to support your body during. So while you're at the place that you know could potentially be overstimulating, that could be orienting to your surroundings nice and slow, maybe taking a bathroom break or going outside or anywhere that's a little quieter, or maybe just using some self-contact. And then you want to support your body after. This could be legs up the wall, shaking out any extra energy that you have in your body, doing something else that feels safe and supportive to your body. So that's number 1, supporting your body before, during, and after. If you need some other suggestions for somatic tools, you can listen to episode 89, Stress Management Tools Everyone Should Know About. Or you can grab my somatic bundle where I guide you through a variety of somatic practices to support your body. And number 2, you can grab some noise-canceling headphones or earbuds and wear them when you know you're going somewhere that could be loud. But remember, these are short-term solutions. The long-term solution is to heal your nervous system at the root, which again is what we do in somatic experiencing. Okay, moving on to sensitivity to smells. Some people walk into rooms and immediately start experiencing headaches or stomach aches when they smell something. And I'm not talking about something that's stinky. This is more like you and your friend walk into the same environment and you start experiencing symptoms, but your friend doesn't. That's because it's not about the smell itself. It's about your nervous system responding to the environment as if it's a threat. So when your nervous system is dysregulated, it has a lower tolerance for unexpected or intense sensory input, especially if there's any kind of association to the past, like for example, a smell that unconsciously or consciously reminds you of a negative experience from the past. And again, this can be conscious or unconscious, and most of the time it's unconscious, meaning that you have no awareness to what it could be connected to. And so many times we start to think that the headaches or the stomach aches came out of nowhere. But if you were fine one moment and then the minute your body smelled something, you started having a reaction, then there's a good chance it's because your nervous system is saying, I'm sensing a threat, even though logically there might not be an actual threat. So in these moments, you can make self-contact, like bringing a gentle hand to the belly or the chest. You can orient to show the nervous system that you're not actually in danger. You can run your hands over cold water, or if it's available to you, you can take an ice pack and bring it to the side of your neck, chest, or belly. And the reason we bring it to the side of the neck, chest, or belly is because we want to stimulate the vagus nerve to create safety in the body. Oftentimes when I offer an ice pack during a session, there's an instinct to bring the ice pack immediately to the forehead, but we want to be intentional about where we place it so that we are activating the parts of your nervous system that help you feel safe. Hey there, if you're looking for daily somatic practices to add to your toolbox, I'd love to introduce you to my somatic bundle where I guide you through over 30 somatic tools and practices that support your nervous system by creating the safety that your nervous system requires to move out of survival mode. Just click the link in the show notes and you will get immediate access to my library of tools. See you there. Okay, next is sensitivity to light. This is another common one, and it's not just sensitivity to lights in a room. This could also be sensitivity to sunlight. So for example, if you're someone who cannot go outside without putting sunglasses on, that's a good indicator that your nervous system doesn't have the capacity. So of course, I'm not saying don't ever wear sunglasses, but if you notice that you need to wear sunglasses all of the time or every single time that there's sun, then again, that's your sign that your nervous system is in a heightened state, because a healthy nervous system has capacity to be with a normal level of sunlight. When it comes to indoor lighting, ceiling lights can be really overstimulating for a lot of people. So if you tend to get overstimulated by light, trying to minimize the use of ceiling lights as much as possible. But if you are somewhere where you're exposed to ceiling lights on a regular basis and you have zero control over that, so for example, like at work, you can just practice giving your eyes a break by gently cupping your hands over your eyes for a few seconds. The pressure and the warmth of your hands will support your body. You can also just give your eyes a rest from time to time by simply closing your eyes if you're in a setting where you feel safe to do that. But again, the more that you heal your nervous system, the more you grow the capacity to be with discomfort, and your eyes won't feel as sensitive to the light. And last, but certainly not least, sensitivity to tone of voice, comments, and feedback. This one's huge, and it's called hypervigilance. Hypervigilance is when your nervous system is always on the lookout for danger. So when someone's tone of voice changes, you immediately notice it, and maybe you even take it personally. Or when someone makes a comment or gives you feedback, you might be thinking about it all day for days. And I'll be honest, this was me in the past. I've always been hypervigilant, especially when it came to noticing changes in tone of voice or facial expressions. And I would always joke with my supervisor when I worked in community mental health. This was a few years ago. This was more than 5 years ago now. When I was living in survival mode and I was working in community mental health, I would joke with my supervisor that being hypervigilant made me a great therapist because I could notice the subtle shifts in body language and tone of voice and facial expressions, which helped me support my clients. But it didn't help me when it came to my personal life because I would notice these subtle shifts and then it would trigger my nervous system and it would just keep me in that loop of survival. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's kind of funny that the very thing that helped me survive is now what I do for a living. I track nervous systems by noticing the subtle shifts in posture, tone of voice, facial expressions, body language. It's really become second nature to me. And honestly, I think that's part of what makes me a really strong somatic experiencing practitioner. But healing my nervous system has taught me how not to do this in my personal life and to let my nervous system rest instead of constantly scanning for danger. So where does this kind of sensitivity come from? It's usually rooted in relational trauma. So if you've experienced trauma within relationships, if you've experienced criticism in childhood, or any kind of emotional abuse, then your nervous system has learned to scan for tone, subtle shifts, and perceived danger in relationships. So hypervigilance lives in the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. And so when it comes to sensitivity to tone of voice or comments or feedback, we basically just need to show the nervous system that these comments aren't actually a threat, that it's okay to receive feedback, that not every change in tone is a threat. Now, I feel like I need to say that I'm not talking about an aggressive tone of voice or aggressive comments or aggressive feedback. And part of healing your nervous system is being able to differentiate between what's actually aggressive and what may be perceived as aggressive because of an overly sensitive nervous system. Because we definitely do not want to tolerate aggressive behavior in any way. And sometimes a dysregulated nervous system may perceive feedback, for example, as an attack when in reality it isn't. So it's important to make that distinction. So, like I've been saying throughout the episode, your body is wired to protect you and keep you alive. So when your nervous system is dysregulated, when it's stuck in fight, flight, or freeze for too long, it doesn't know how to tell the difference between actual danger and maybe just life. So everything starts to feel louder, brighter, harsher, more personal, more overwhelming. And your body has lost its window of tolerance, right? The space where it can process things without shutting down or spiraling. So, as a reminder, this isn't who you are. Your nervous system is just over capacity. But as you start to heal your nervous system, especially through deep nervous system work like somatic experiencing, you'll begin to rebuild that tolerance. You'll notice that your edges begin to soften, that things don't feel as sharp or overwhelming, and that you start to feel safe being in your body, even when life is just lifing. So I hope you found this episode helpful. If it resonated with you, I would love for you to do me a favor and share this episode with a friend so that we can continue to spread awareness. The more people we reach, the more generational cycles we break. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you absolutely loved this episode, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed and left a review on Apple Podcast, or take a screenshot and share this episode on social media. The more nervous systems we reach, the more generational cycles we break, and the more we contribute to a kinder and safer world. And if you're looking for somatic healing services, send me a DM and I'd love to chat on how I can support you. I'll see you in the next episode.